Hello, ladies and gentlemen, it's Mike here at Game from Scratch, and I got some pretty massive news in the world of RPG Maker and the Unity game engine. And this falls under the classic category of, if you can't beat them, join them, because that seems to be exactly what is happening here. Now, I'm going to screw some of this up because the lineages are getting a little confusing. There was ASCII, there's Degica, there's Katakawa, now there's Gacha Games, and so on. All the people involved in this, it does get a bit confusing, but what we're talking about here is the RPG Maker series of games. And we have a new one coming. It is called RPG Maker Unite, and there is a hint in that name and that font. Unite is Unity-based. So this is a press release from Katakawa. I believe they are the ultimate owner or the parent company or possibly the publisher or the publisher in certain regions. Like I said, it gets confusing. But anyways, they are announcing here next chapter of the RPG Maker series. Gacha Games, developer of the RPG Maker series codeless engine, is thrilled to announce our latest RPG Maker Unite, an ambitious project aimed at making game development on the industry popular, okay, Unity engine more intuitive and fun. A radical approach to Unity game development, slated for a 2022 release for Windows and Mac, will leverage on the highly popular Unity and aim to make RPG game development more intuitive and fun for everyone. Like past Maker Series titles, RPG Maker Unite will retain its unique codeless nature, opens up the dream for more people wishing to become a developer, not only with Unity's native support of mobile platforms. RPG Maker Unite would become more fit to provide users with options to easily widen their player base broader than ever. And it's actually kind of cool because if you're making an RPG Maker game, now consoles are possible, actual native web support is possible, mobile support, and so on and so forth, because they're basically going to piggyback on top of the Unity system, and Unity supports pretty much more platforms than any game engine out there. It is our sincerest wish to unlock many creators' path to becoming a game developer, but are turned back by the hurdles of game development. RPG Maker Unite is our latest endeavor to this mission. So you got some details of it here. It's coming sometime in 2022. It is available on Steam. It is available for Windows and Mac OS. Little bit of detail of what the Maker series are in general. They were standalone software. In the past, we believe that Unity's capabilities and our 30 years of experience in making visually forward engines, we can provide an experience that makes game development process so much easier. So the RPG Maker series in general, you can create RPGs without any coding required, although generally there's a language support behind every RPG series, and they keep switching it up. I believe it's been Ruby, JavaScript, I think possibly Lua at one point. They do change their programming language like quite often. And there's no mention of what is going to be the case with this one. You would assume C#, but if this is aimed at the console market, I do believe the console versions of RPG Maker have zero scripting support in them, but I got to imagine they're going to probably have C# support behind the scenes. It's the only thing that makes sense to me. Beautiful resources to make compelling games. That's another nice thing about the RPG Maker ecosystem, is there is a huge amount of DLC out there. An enhanced map editor, and then features an established and versatile database system. And if you really think about it, the heart of most RPGs is ultimately a database behind the scenes. So you're going to get all of that in the Unite version. Plus, they've got the RPG Maker Festival going on. You can get RPG Maker free, and 200 plus titles made with RPG Maker are on sale. So that's the details from Gacha Games and Katakawa, which I'm probably saying wrong. If you're interested, it is now up on Steam. So you can see, again, the page is here. It doesn't give you a lot of details. You get a single screenshot of it in action inside of the Unity game engine. It's all in Japanese, by the way, so there might be some hints if you speak Japanese. But basically, they're going to bring their map tools, their database tools, and so on and so forth into the Steam game engine, which, frankly, the Unity game engine. That to me actually makes a ton of sense. Now it's going to be interesting to see how well it meshes with, say, like the Unity Asset Store. Are they going to bring all of their assets over to the Asset Store and resell them that way? Interesting to see on the whole. Its release date is sometime in 2022. We got some details of it. It's pretty much the exact same thing we had from the press release, so there's no sense going through that again. Again, it is going to be available for Windows and Mac OS. And then, as I mentioned earlier on, the RPG Maker Festival is currently running right now. So all of the RPG Maker stuff is available at either a highly discounted rate and so on. So you can see here, RPG Maker MZ is 40% off. This will be maybe, I don't know, is this going to be the last standalone version? I'd be interested to find out if that's the case. But yep, they are moving to a Unity-based environment. Now, if you've never worked with RPG Maker in the past, this is RPG Maker MV. So this is the last version I own. It's, again, it normally kind of is around two major pieces. This part you see in front of you, the map editor, and by the way, there are an absolute ton of like DLC packs for various different tile sets, and of course you can bring in your own. And then on top of the map editor, the next probably biggest part is this thing, which is basically your database. This is where you do you define your characters, things in the world, armor sets, and so on. Now there have been a ton of commercial games created using RPG Maker. You know, you're very much in a specific style, for sure. But it actually is kind of impressive where people have gone with RPG Maker titles in the past. You know, you're not going to be creating a first-person shooter in RPG Maker, but then again, if you try to do that, you're kind of tense anyway. Hey, well, you know what? People play Dark Souls on fishing controllers, so who am I to judge what kind of challenge people want to set? But you see here, it's got all of the stuff kind of, you can define magical spells, events, conversations, states that happen in the world or in combat or so on and so forth. You can create characters for your game world. You can have battle systems where it's like a side view or a top-down view. And then on top of that, of course, you have this this map editor, and you switch between modes. So you're either in event mode or map mode. And then in map mode, it's a pretty straightforward 2D tile set based painting system. Again, this is one version out of date, and another thing to be aware of is when these things normally ship, it normally takes a couple of releases to get the bugs out, so don't be surprised when the move to the Unity in this particular case if we have a similar thing happening here. But it's pretty interesting. We're going to have this RPG Maker Unite. That logo is horrible. I don't know what I'm going to do for the graphic for this video. I may use it, I may not. It looks pretty bad. But basically, RPG Maker functionality is being merged with the Unity game engine. In some ways, RPG Maker is going to be yet another Unity add-on, which is interesting because there are a ton of add-ons out there for the Unity game engine for creating, RPG Maker style of games. So they are, probably the name in this space, especially if you're making like a 2D JRPG style game. But they're going to have a lot of competition on the App Store. So it's going to be interesting to see if this move is a smart one or not. There are definitely some upsides, like getting piggybacking on Unity's development, support for all those various different platforms. It should run better on those platforms too, because Unity's development budget is so far beyond what Gotcha Games or whoever actually is behind this is. So, you should get better platform support, more day one support for devices, that kind of stuff. But yeah, let me know what you think. RPG Maker Unite, basically RPG Maker for the Unity game engine. Interesting. Let me know what you think. Comments down below. Talk to you all later. Goodbye.